And here we go. This is Mike Lodge. I am the business advisor, and we're in this podcast again. It's Tuesday. Beautiful day outside. I'm trying to look out my window here, and I see blue skies and sun streaming through the trees. So I think it's going to be a good day, except it's going to be probably about 91 degrees. But the average temperature for August is about 73 degrees. So we're still we are below average. Well, I keep talking to you about banking, right? And I keep giving you the warning that please go out and check the safety of your bank. And the reason why I say that is because we keep getting more downgrades on these banks. So far, we have had Fitch, we have had Moody's, and now we have the S&P Global downgrading more banks. And this should be a concern to every single American that has money in a bank, to know whether or not what's going to happen with that bank in the next few days, few months. I've been talking about this for so long, and I kept asking, how safe are the banks out there in the United States? It's a big thing. So, as of August 22, S&P Global cut its credit ratings and outlook on multiple U.S. regional banks on Monday. That was yesterday, saying higher funding costs and troubles in the commercial real estate CRE sector would likely test their credit strength. Now, I have been talking about the commercial real estate side of banking for so long, and we're seeing more defaults. We're seeing more people walk away from their properties and handing the keys back to the bank saying, I can no longer afford 7% interest. I can no longer afford the upkeep when I have no tenants inside my building because now everyone's working from home. So this has been a growing problem, and it continues on. It continues on and says a sharp rise in interest rates by the U.S. Federal Reserve is fueling liquidity concerns as costs tied to funding deposits surge, the S&P said in a summarized note. The agency cut its ratings on Associated Bank Corp, ASB.N, and Valley National Bank on funding risk and higher reliance on brokered deposits, while UMB Financial Corp and also Co-America Bank and Key Corp were downgraded on large deposit outflows and prevailing higher interest rates. So those banks have lost money going out to other banks. Key Corp shares were down marginally in pre-market trading. The outlook of S&T Bank and River City Bank was cut to negative from stable by the S&P, citing higher CRE exposure. Now remember, a lot of these commercial real estate deals are done with the smaller banks, the local banks. And these are the banks that we should be very concerned with because they have so much of a risk on these commercial lending and people going into default. Now, it says that the agency's action will make borrowing costlier for the ailing banking sector that is looking to shake off the effects of the crisis from earlier this year, with the collapse of Silicon Bank and Signature Bank and those other banks. Well, let me tell you something. When you have banks that have so much commercial real estate tied to it, and when that property does not have any tenants in there and they've defaulted on their rent, and the bank now holds a property that has no money inflowing into it. Because if people are not paying their rents, if people are moving out of their buildings and they can't fill those spots again, there's a problem. And that means that there's no money flowing, called liquidity. There's no money flowing. And they have no other place to back it up. So now they've got to start managing these properties or trying to sell off these properties. And do they have the financial strength and the managerial strength to do this? It's a big deal, people. I'm telling you, this is a big deal. And if we don't start paying more attention to what's going on, we're going to have more and more banks fail. And that's not what the American people need at the moment, is failure in the banking system. Especially when we're trying to meet our needs on a daily basis based on what's in those banks. Now, FDIC should come in and cover that, but what is the length of time? So we have banking issues. And it's going to continue with more banking issues. Not only do you have the commercial loans, but you also have the auto loans. Wells Fargo is getting hit hard on auto loan repos and trying to sell them off at auction. This is what I get to this point ever so often when I'm talking to people about the economy. And they will say, oh, the unemployment numbers are good. Oh, the jobless rate is good. And they'll go off into other tangents, especially when it comes to the inflation rate. You see, it's a much bigger economy that we have to look at. We have to look at the banking industry. We have to look at the credit industry. We have to look at the real estate industry. We have to look at commercial lending. We have to look at banking safety. How safe are the banks? We have to look at jobs. What kind of jobs are being filled? Right now, only mediocre jobs in the hotel industry and in the service industry are being filled. It is not the big ticket items. Over 200,000 people who earn more than 200,000, 158,000 on upward are being laid off now. And so we have to look at this whole picture of what's happening in this world of ours, in America, in the economy. We need to plan very well for our own families. And that means that you have to sit down, and I've talked to you about this before. You have to sit down and do budgeting and planning. And if you don't know how to do that, contact me. I'll put a link down below if you need help in that. But we need to do better at planning for our own personal finances, because we're going to get hit. At some point, we are going to get hit hard. And if you listen to all the financial gurus out there, they say it's coming. They say it's coming. They say that we're going to get hit. And that you need to have a plan of action in place. And when they're looking at the markets and they're looking at the economy, they're also looking at what's happening in China. China's real estate market is being destructive at the moment. Young people are unable to find jobs because the economy just is not sound enough. They keep messing around with the foreign currency that you never know what you're going to be. Remember when I talked several months ago, we talked about this new revolution of China and India and Russia all joining together in buying oil and using a currency, different currencies to buy oil. Unfortunately, many of those currencies are not stable. Russia is not stable. No way. China is not stable. They're having to maneuver and change policies inside their country because their economy is down, really down. Manufacturing is down, really down. What does manufacturing do? Well, that means that retailers in other countries, and especially the United States, which is the biggest trading partner of China, we're not buying. We Americans are not buying. So when you hear politicians saying, oh, our CPI is really good, we're really down now. When you see oil prices going up, you know that there's a problem. When you see when you see the banking industry in a problem and they're being downgraded because of liquidity problems, we have a problem. You and I, we have a problem. So we're going to have to think very carefully about how we are managing our money, how we're spending it, how we are teaching our children to save money. It's a whole new world now. I was so impressed the other day. I was watching Instagram, and there was a mom who is trying to teach her children how to handle their money. I am so impressed because they literally go over, well, if you do this and if you do that, how are you going to be able to buy a car? And the responses of these kids are saying, I'll never be able to buy a car. I'll have to ride a bicycle the rest of my life. But I'm so impressed that this one parent is trying to spend time with her children and teaching them about the importance of money and the responsibility of it. I hope you go out and read my book. If you are a parent and you're trying to teach your children about money, I wrote a book called Kids and Money for Parents, because it's for you to be able to teach your child about money. And the earliest stage of their life that they understand the importance of being fiscally sound or being good stewards of their money. Those are big words. You don't have to use those words with them. But it's important to understand that at this early age in life, it's important that these kids know the importance of money so that they can understand what you're going through as a parent in trying to manage your money. And maybe this book, Kids and Money for Parents, maybe will teach you something about money. I'll give you a link down below. But here we have it again. We have 3 credit bureaus downgrading banks. And we have to use them as our eyes and ears to know the healthiness of our banking system. And it's not good. It just is not good. So, I talk to you about this every day, but I want you to understand how very important these situations are. I don't like to talk to you about it every day. I'm sorry. I'll use my dad's words when he used to punish me. It hurts me more than it does you. But listen, we have got to get serious about this. Our financial affairs is a serious situation. And when we have situations outside of our control, because we can't control the banks, we can't control unemployment, we can't control money, we can't control any of that that's out there, but we can control our own personal finances, and we can do it very well. And that means it's going to take some time to understand where you sit financially. So once again, go down to my webpage at www.lodge-co.com, or send me a text. And if you want to sit down and talk about your finances, let's do it. Send me not a text, but an email at thebusinessadvisor@gmail.com. It's very important. It's very, very important. Money is not the root of all evil, but it can cause us a lot of trouble when other people don't manage theirs very well. And the government hasn't done a good job. The banking system hasn't done a good job. So that means that you and I have got to do better. We have got to be smarter than them. Everybody go out and have a great day. God bless you. Love you. Bye-bye.